Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We'll give everybody a minute to settle into Zoom. We're excited to be with you today. We will likely have a few people jumping in once we're underway, so we'll give them the chance to do that. And I will just start off by saying it's a really great day on campus. I'm really excited that classes are starting this week and there's a lot more life going on than during the summer. I hope that you're all having a great week too. As you can see, hopefully by my screen, this is the information session for EQUIP, and I will be sharing more information about the program once we get started. We'll talk primarily about this upcoming fall cohort, but it is offered in winter and spring as well, if people are interested for further out. And I'm delighted to have several members of my team today too, who will be able to introduce themselves in just a couple of minutes. Okay, well, I'm going to get started and welcome all of you. As I mentioned, we're here to talk about the EQUIP Fellowship, which is designed specifically for undergraduates at UC Davis. And EQUIP stands for Entrepreneurship Quest Undergraduate Internship Program. So it's quite a mouthful if you say it the long way, so we tend to refer to it as EQUIP. And it's a really great program. I'm really excited to talk with you about it today. So in this information session, what we'll talk about are specifically the benefits of joining EQUIP and what you can expect during your cohort experience, as well as after you complete the cohort. We continue to maintain connections with you and support you along your journey. We'll talk a little bit about how to apply and make sure everybody has information to do that, and then or ask additional questions. And then we will also be spending some time tackling your questions. As we get started, at any point you can add your questions to chat to make sure that we cover them, but I will also build in specific time shortly for us to go through them. So introducing myself, my name is Joanna Siebert, and I am the Associate Director of the Mike and Renee Child Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at UC Davis. I'm also the mean instructor and coach for EQUIP students. I work with each cohort basically on going through a range of different topics, doing a lot of hands-on practice, providing some strategic guidance, and then also doing coaching one-on-one during sessions that are scheduled individually. But I love being a part of this community. I've been at UC Davis in a staff role for about 8 years and at the Institute for 3 years specifically. And it's always a lot of fun for me to get to know incoming cohorts for our fellowships. We work with both undergraduates and graduate students. So here you can see a picture of our larger team, and many of us work together to support the programs. We also employ undergraduate student assistants as well as graduate students. And it's a really important part of how we do things here. We're very collaborative, and we like to just bring our expertise and our support to students. So I have some of my colleagues are on the call today. I'm going to ask them to come off mute and just briefly introduce themselves and say hello to all of you.
Okay, Cara, you can go.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Cara. I'm a graduate student assistant. I'm also a graduate student in the Sacramento part-time MBA program. I'm really excited to be here and hopefully meet you all.
Hi, I'm Angela Lindley. I'm the communications manager here at the Institute. You may see me in your classes working with you a little bit and taking some photos because we love to document the amazing stories that you bring to EQUIP. So I'm excited to meet all of you.
And I'm Lindsay Lowry. I'm the Events and Operations Specialist at the Institute, and I will be supporting in a small role EQUIP, but I will probably get to meet all of you if you decide to join.
And we have two people on our program management team. One of them, Julianne Ballou, may join us for a while. Some of you may have already done some interacting with her. And then Nikki Peterson, is another one of our program managers, working on a variety of programs that we offer at the Institute, as well as our fearless leaders. We have really great support from our leadership, and we have a lot of engagement throughout the UC Davis campus. So our mission as an institute really is much larger than just these specific programs. We're involved in a lot of different avenues for supporting innovation and entrepreneurship, as well as career development. So as you can see, one of the core tenets in our work with students is that we really believe that we all have a responsibility to change the world, and that we as an institute can provide tools and knowledge and expertise to partner and enable people to do that. An important piece to talk about, as some of you may be wondering about how much of this program called EQUIP relates to innovation and entrepreneurship, is really our definition. So our definition of entrepreneurship is really about mindsets and skill sets that can be learned by anyone. Looking past the status quo, putting knowledge into practice, engaging the power of the network, solving important problems, and making a positive and lasting change. So we really break through the idea of the traditional model of an entrepreneur and think more about how all of us can adopt an entrepreneurial mindset and can be engaged in innovation, as those are really core to what will be needed in the world of work today and on into the future. So again, our mission is here, and one of those pieces is really working with all of you, bringing the lens of entrepreneurship and innovation to your own career journey is one of the things that I really enjoy about this program. And so we work in a very integrated way on career development, leadership, and these mindsets and skills that are really important as you kind of forge your path forward. So now we would really love to hear about you. If you wouldn't mind, in the chat feature, go ahead and share a little bit. So the first question is, what is your major? Like, what are you hoping to study? If you're undeclared, we want to know that too. And you can just throw it into chat so that all of us can see. And share with us a little bit about who you are. So first, great. So I see pharmaceutical chemistry major. That's awesome. Thank you. Economics and comparative literature. Oh, interesting pairing. That's great. Great. How about, as you think about that, any other majors? And then also, where do you consider your hometown? Where are you from, sort of prior to arriving at UC Davis? Love to see those locations. Great. Karina, managerial economics, electrical engineering from Santa Barbara. That's awesome. Great, so that gives us a great perspective. One of the things that we really enjoy about EQUIP is our very diverse cohorts. And so we have students who are majoring in different areas, who come from different places, and who have different career aspirations. So let's now talk about what some of your key questions are that you're hoping to get answered in this information session. Throw in a couple of questions, either what interests you about EQUIP, what do you think the potential is for you, or specifically, what are you hoping to learn in this information session so that we can make sure to incorporate that as we move forward. Encourage you to keep adding to chat. You can add anytime as I'm speaking, and then we'll have certain pauses where we'll be able to go through your questions and what you're hoping for. All right, so I'm going to share some details about the fall cohort of EQUIP. It's going to be starting relatively soon. I know everybody is just excited to be starting classes this week, but our application is open, and so we'll share some information about how to apply. The session for EQUIP runs sort of more in the middle of the quarter. It's a number of sessions on Wednesdays from 11 to 1 p.m. The dates, the first day will be October 16th, and then we'll end on December 4th, with a break on November 27th. So that's right before Thanksgiving weekend, and we won't have any session then. All of the sessions are in person in Gallagher Hall. So we post the room number in Canvas. We use Canvas to communicate and share resources with you. but all of the actual sessions between 11 and 1 are in person. And we really require you to commit to being very active in the participation, because that's how you get the most out of it and how you can really form a great experience with your fellow students in your cohort. And then an important component of Equip is the idea that we are helping prepare you to complete an internship. So when you apply, we're looking for people who want to commit to completing an internship within about a year of the completion of your cohort experience. So that for this group, if you're interested in fall, would be by January 2026. And if that's not your timeline, that's okay. We can still talk with you about that. But that tends to draw people who are going to have some immediate application for what we'll be doing in the cohort. The skills, however, are things that you'll be able to use at any point along the way. So we're really teaching you a number of mindsets and skills that will be useful, not just in looking for an internship, but to really expand and navigate your career throughout your life. So why should you join Equip? These are just a few of the things that come to mind for me. Other people might have additional ideas. But first of all, what I love about Equip is that it's designed specifically with UC Davis undergraduates in mind. This program started as a collaboration with the Internship and Career Center, and it's grown so that we now have Equip as in home base with us. But we do a lot of collaboration with the Internship and Career Center. We serve the entire UC Davis community. So anyone from any major can join, and we like that. Intentionally, we pull together a cohort where you'll get to meet people with different interests and experiences, and intentionally design the experience so that you get to form a really supportive community and encourage each other as you're developing new skills or challenging yourself along the way. So reason number 2 that I really think you should join Equip is that our sessions are very interactive and they're a lot of fun. So I like to keep things moving. I don't want us to be sitting for too long. It's very different from a lecture. We have a lot that we like to do either in group work or individually to help you develop skills and apply them right away to gain practice in a supportive environment. And again, we're always encouraging people to stretch just beyond their comfort zone and to see the opportunities that are available to them. So the other piece that I think is really important as you're thinking about joining Equip is when we talk about exploration and development of career skills, and I mentioned that this would be a really diverse cohort, we also find that people are in different spaces in their academic career or academic journey. And so for some folks, it might be like their very first quarter at UC Davis, and this might be foundational information that you're looking for. For others, they might be getting ready to graduate and they're looking for an internship to start immediately. I work with you really intensively to develop a unique plan for yourself. So we will have common elements that we work on as a group, but the timeline is yours, right? And then we'll support you in achieving your goals as it fits with your timeline and your other commitments, like your studies. One of the things that I find really useful that isn't always as immediately available to students is how important some structure, some accountability, and really celebration of all of your small wins along the way is. So provide lots of ideas for that and a lot of brainstorming about what will work for you. And then also, as I mentioned, you'll have access to one-on-one coaching sessions. So anything that we work on as the group where you want to practice it further, or you have more specific questions about your own research or exploration related to your career, I can work with you on that in one-on-one sessions that are scheduled at sort of your convenience and my convenience during the work week. All right, and so reason number 4 is that we know that employers are really seeking out students and recent graduates who have developed leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship mindsets and skills. And in the program, I break these down further to talk about what those are, but we have really close ties to various employers, whether that's with startups or corporations or other people that we interact with in a variety of nonprofit and other businesses. And so to prepare you to be really effective at contributing in those environments. You'll hear a lot of practical advice, and you'll have plenty of opportunities to interact with mentors and to expand your network, whether that's by hearing from people who have completed the program before you, or some people who are further along in their career. And then number 5, great reason to join EQUIP, maybe not the main reason, but I think it's really important to note that all materials are provided and there's no cost to any of you to join EQUIP. So we want you to arrive and be present for the experience on those scheduled session days. And so we make sure that you have access to water, we have great snacks, and we want you to be able to be there without any barriers to joining, except for perhaps your own schedule that you need to consider. All right, so a little bit about some of our fellows in the past. We every year are just staying in touch with some really great alums who have finished our program. Some of them are still here at UC Davis and doing other programs that they're really excited about. We share this information and often bring them back to talk with you so that you can hear about their own career paths and like the decisions that they needed to make, the types of internships or jobs that they had while they were at UC Davis or immediately afterwards. It really provides a nice way to build connections that are with people at different stages of their journey. All right, so now I'm going to provide a little bit of the how-to, and then I will open it up for questions and find out what else we can do to answer any ideas or questions that are lingering for you. So if you are ready to apply just based on that great information, then you can do that at Startup Tree. So it's ucdavis.startuptree.co. And I will give you a QR code in a minute, which also takes you to our link tree where you can access it directly. For our fall cohort, we are in the process of reviewing applications now. So the priority application deadline is tomorrow, just before midnight. Anybody who is able to turn in their application will have that first priority for looking at their application and reviewing it. But spots are filled on a rolling basis. So the application will stay open until October 8th at just before midnight. So as space is open, we will continue to work with you until we have a full cohort. If you decide that it's actually not the best fit for you this quarter, we can work with you so that your application can be considered for winter or spring, if that's better for your schedule. And, you know, we're also happy to answer questions along the way. So what can you expect when you get to the Startup Tree application? I like to provide a little bit of context for these questions so that you know what to expect when you go into the application platform. And again, this is in Startup Tree, and I'll provide the QR code in a minute for you to have direct access to that. But so these questions are really important for us to understand how immediate your needs are, what you know already that you would like to contribute in terms of the cohort, and then also what some potential areas are that you would like to work on. So the first one is, what do you wish to gain from the EQUIP program? Very important to us to get a sense of what you're anticipating and how it could benefit you. How will you contribute to the success of the program cohort? So for this, we're really looking at what are some unique abilities or traits that you have that you're excited to share with other UC Davis students. Some people are really great at organization and they end up volunteering to help organize some of the strategies to move forward with applying to jobs or interviewing. Others are just really enthusiastic and they're excited to be able to provide like some support to their colleagues. And others are really comfortable with public speaking and they're happy to like be a model in front of class and play with me a little bit as we go through some role plays. So there's different things that each person might want to provide, and we ask you to think about what is something that you would be excited to provide in this group experience. And then what types of internships are you interested in? And when would you like to begin an internship? This is helpful for us just to, again, look at what you're potentially interested in and what your timing is for it. If you don't already know, it's okay. We have a lot of students who end up in EQUIP who are at the very early stages of exploring what they might want to do. And that's great. So we will be providing hands-on tips for ways that you can explore it even in a smaller, more iterative fashion before you take on an internship. But we do ask you to share something about your future plans with us so we know. So again, potential career plans and interests. We're not looking for you to have any firm commitments. It's really great if you're at the beginning or you're undeclared or you're thinking about pivoting, to just explain that for us so we can get a sense of where you are and what we can do to be helpful for you. And then we ask you to upload a resume. So in this, I like, again, I don't want anything to be an obstacle. Many people are nervous with their first resumes. Others are like more experienced from applying to other jobs. So really a rough draft is fine. We're just looking for a little bit of how you present yourself and what experience you have. And then that's actually a topic that we will work some on in the EQUIP program is how do you craft a really effective resume. And then one of the last questions is just asking if there's anything else that you would like to convey about yourself. So with this, it might be that you have some really great leadership experience that you are bringing into the EQUIP program, or you know already that there are some gaps, let's say, in problem solving or communication, or you have questions about what it's like to work in different environments. Anything that can help us get to know you a little bit better is really useful in the application stage. So now I'm gonna ask you again, feel free to throw in some questions. You can come off mute and share your questions verbally, or you can throw them in chat if you prefer to do it that way. The rest of this time together is really for your questions, and then I will also go ahead and share a few of those links. But feel free to start either raising your hand, coming off mute, or throwing questions in to chat, and I will also share this information. And Lindsay is adding some things, some additional details into chat, so you have it there. So you're going to apply through Startup Tree. If you would like to learn more about the program and hear some stories, you can do that at our main website, which is innovate.ucdavis.edu with EQUIP. And then if you have questions after this, you can email aggeinnovators@ucdavis.edu. And again, I see some questions, so I'm going to start taking those in just a sec. And that is the completion of the formal presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to be able to answer your questions. All right, so I think one of the questions that is popping out to me, and my team is going to also help make sure if anybody asks questions before this, that that we catch those as well. When should you find out if you are accepted? So if you have already submitted your application or you're going to do so by tomorrow, then we'll be in communication with you within the next week or so. For those who are admitted, I probably will offer the opportunity to come to some more Q&A sessions where you can meet other fellows who are likely to be in the cohort. But we will start notifying people next week when they're accepted to the cohort. And then for those who will continue applying, it may not be until after that October 8th date, depends on what our application numbers look like. As soon as we have a full cohort, what we'll do is notify everybody else so that if it works for you, you can apply for fall and winter. We'll be opening up those applications soon, so you'll know when those will be offered. I know that's a little bit tricky sometimes because you haven't registered for your courses yet for those quarters, but we want to make sure that we stay in touch with you and can follow up with you for a different cohort if that works better. And the next question, what does a typical session look like and what do we look for in applicants? That's great. And can first years apply? So definitely first years can apply. I've really enjoyed, I've had some students who are in their very first quarter at UC Davis, and I really enjoy getting to know them. And I think they really benefit because they'll get the chance to meet with some students who are just about to graduate. And there's plenty of opportunity to get to know what people love about UC Davis or different activities that they're involved with. I would say most people who are part of any of our fellowships say that that is one of the key things is they get to meet other students who are engaged in a lot of different things, and they learn to make new connections while they're in the fellowship. In terms of what traits I look for in applications, again, it's a little bit of wanting to put together a diverse cohort. So as we noted on chat when everybody was signing on, I look for a variety of majors. So I want to pick the strongest candidates who have applied in a timely fashion, meaning like if we get down to the end, the cohort may be filled already, but based on the applicants I'm looking for, can we put together a lot of different people who are interested in different majors, different professions, have maybe different experiences that they're bringing to UC Davis and into the cohort? Are they clear about what their current needs are? So I would say this program works really well for people who are able to articulate what they're looking for. And that can be that they're just at the very early stages of career exploration. That works too. But what is less helpful for an applicant is when you are unsure and you're not able to share any information about yourself, right? So the more that you can share to let me know who you are and what you're interested in, the better I can figure out with you if this is the right program for you at this point in time. In terms of trait, we look for people who are traits. We are looking for people who are really excited or willing to challenge themselves to be actively engaged during the sessions. So I know it can be nerve-wracking a little bit, depending on what you're used to. If you're used to big lecture halls, or you're nervous about being at UC Davis, we cap our cohort at around 20. So we like to do that so that one, you get to meet a lot of different people, but two, it feels like a really comfortable space, right? And so maybe it's not in the first session that you want to really put yourself out there as a leader or speak up, but the goal is really to get everybody comfortable over the series of sessions. So I'm looking for people who understand that this isn't lecture-based. It's going to involve giving you some content to work with, some structure and guidance, but you're going to be really interacting with your peers and doing some self-reflection. So those are traits that I'm looking for, is an understanding of that's what's involved. And then also fun. We really try to make this as fun as possible. I like it to be a break from your other classes and your experiences there. And one of the key things that I've noticed is at UC Davis and other big universities, there's a lot of pressure to feel like you have to get the answers right or perform a certain way. What we're looking for is more what I would call curiosity and motivation to just learn by doing, to share what you know with other people in the group and with our speakers and myself as they come in, but also to ask questions. And so we do some work on, how to ask some really good questions to help you navigate things and move forward. One thing I also like to share about this is for some of our students, they will be looking for an internship right away. They'll be working on updating their resume right away. And that's fantastic. But there isn't a lot of homework intentionally with this experience because we do want it to be different. So you'll have access to the materials later. If you are somebody who's not going to do an internship until further out, excuse me, you'll have the opportunity to absorb the information, work with it in our sessions, and then do a deeper dive on your own timeline. And so one of the pieces that I think is really a value in joining Equip is that you will stay connected with our institute, long into the future. We really work hard to make sure that you're comfortable coming back and sharing your successes, and also setting up mentoring sessions or coaching sessions with us, because we're not here just for one point in time. We're not here even specifically for UC Davis students. Our mission is really about a much broader community. So students are really core to some of our programs, but we also work with alumni, we work with faculty and staff, we work with our regional community, and we work with people nationally and internationally around these competencies. So for us, it's about being a great resource for you while you're here on campus, and then hopefully forming relationships that you want to continue to maintain once you're off and working in different settings. So in terms of a typical session, what I have really enjoyed about working on Equip is that I have the flexibility and the intentionality to blend together activities that we approach from really like 3 different lenses. One of them is leadership. And leadership can also, I think, involves teamwork. So we do a lot of group work. But it could be that you become a leader in certain activities, right? Or that you volunteer for something that requires you to have a little courage and stand out in the group. The second one is entrepreneurship and innovation, right? So those skill sets are going to be really important in all workplaces. So regardless of whether you think of yourself as an entrepreneur, what we're actually going to focus in on is what are some of those characteristics and those aptitudes that you can develop. So things like taking initiative, problem solving, creativity. Those are all things that actually sort of go into this idea of what an entrepreneur does. And we think that's accessible to everyone. We use it in our office. I would say it's very frequently used in things like healthcare, engineering, humanities, design, all different majors can find this really beneficial. And then the third piece is really that career development piece. And so every session we will have things that we're working on. I really kind of designed the curriculum so it goes in a logical progression, but you'll find that right from the beginning, what we're doing is asking you to help us decide what the group should focus on in our group sessions. So let's say that there's something on interviewing. People may have different perspectives on what they need to do in terms of interviewing. And through putting our cohort together and talking with you early on, I will customize the curriculum a little bit, right? So there are certain things that I always like to teach because I think they're important. There are some things where I'll provide you additional resources from the Internship and Career Center. And then there's typically some really hands-on practice, but you as a group will get to have that opportunity to say, you know, this is the thing about interviewing that I'm really afraid of, or that I don't understand. And so we make sure that we are addressing those questions either in the group setting, or you can come for one-on-one coaching to go through those typical types of things that you'll need to understand as you move forward. Yeah, I would say the other piece about the sessions, I mentioned the snacks. It's true. We want you to be there and to get comfortable. We really want everybody to be there who can commit. We give a little bit of a passing time, you know, at the first 10 minutes of the session, the last 10 minutes of the session. If you need to get to a class, that's fine, but we really want the core group to be there for the majority of time. So we make sure that you're fed, we make sure you have access to water and take breaks. But it's very interactive. So we'll do some periods of time where either I'm talking or our guests are talking with you about experiences or skills. And then we'll have some periods of time where you're working together in groups, and it's pretty fast moving in the sense that, I want to keep you engaged, right? So that if that's my goal, like we're partnering essentially to make sure that the content and what we're doing is relevant and interesting to you. And Lindsay says she really does do a phenomenal job curating the snacks. We take requests once in a while. We have already done one Costco run and are planning for an additional round of shopping specifically for Quit. So we find that really fun, and it's one of the highlights for us. I think too, a piece of information that I would share is I've heard from students say before, at the, halfway through or at the end of it, wow, this is like unlike any class that I've taken at UC Davis, because it's really not intended to be, it's intended to probably to give you a very different perspective than what you'll get from talking with parents or other family members or in a class, right? It's supposed to be expansive, and it's helping you have enough information to determine your own direction forward. And I think that's really important. So do students need to reapply for the winter or spring cohort if they're not admitted for fall? No, when we contact you, letting you know either way, what we'll do is ask if you would like to be moved forward to the winter or fall application pool. So we basically carry you forward if you're somebody who says, yeah, this didn't work out for this quarter, but I want to do this. Next quarter, we will move you forward into our pool for the next quarter, and you'll be at the sort of the top of the list when we open recruitment. And we will be updating our website and startup trees soon. So those dates and times, again, will be available for winter and spring, although I understand, that's a little bit tricky if you don't know your class schedules yet. But we do try to schedule Equip at different times, thinking that some students might have periods of availability on different days of the week and different times of the day. All right, what other questions are coming up? And again, you're welcome to come off mute and say hello if you'd like, or continue to add them to chat. The other thing that I think is really great about Equip is, we really open the door for you to meet a lot of people who you might not otherwise meet. So we do a lot of introductions, and we provide a lot of other events that you're invited to, where you have the opportunity to meet either other students or graduate students, and people in a variety of fields. So our network is very broad, and we have so many people who are excited to mentor students or who would like to be ask questions. We do a lot of work talking about how can you go about sort of having a conversation, a career conversation with somebody. What are the skills that you need to talk with people to learn about internship opportunities or job opportunities. And so I think that that is probably one of the things that I enjoy most about Equip, is that we're really just bringing you into our network and encouraging you to expand yours, so that you have the resources and people you can turn to when you have questions along the way. All right, I'm going to give it another minute. And I shared this information before. I will bring it back up on the screen so that you can see it. Maybe I'll bring it back up on the screen. I don't see it at the moment. So we will have available to you, if you have any questions, you can add them to chat. We can follow up. I'll stay on if you have questions you want to ask one-on-one. Again, the priority application deadline is tomorrow before midnight. So anyone who is submitting their application before that will get priority consideration. Lindsay put our email address into the chat, so you can email us with questions. And then I expect that the application period will stay open for a little bit longer beyond that. It can close at any time once we have a full cohort, but we still want to hear from you. So if you end up missing this time period of an open application, still reach out to us, because we would love to talk with you about taking it in a future time period, or also talk with you about other events and services we offer that you might be interested in. All right, well, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate sort of hearing your questions, and we look forward to getting to know you better. Again, I'll stay on until the last person is gone. But if you would like to come off mute and say hello or ask any other questions, please feel free to do that through chat or through the email address that Lindsay submitted. And our team is here and really excited to meet all of you. Get this academic year started. All right.